Hi, I'm Carrie Dodd, manager of the Tehama County Farm Bureau. Did you know that we have over 5,000 acres of fruit-bearing prune orchards in Tehama County that provides an annual crop value of over $20 million? Today, join us on our ag venture as we tour the Edwards Ranch and Millrace Dryer to see the process of prunes being taken from the orchard to your table.
Welcome to Edwards Ranch. I'm Tyler Christensen, and this is our prune harvest. Right now we're standing in about a 100-acre block of our prunes, and our harvest starts for us just a little bit, usually after the 15th of August. So down behind me, the harvest crew is rolling along, shaking the trees, and you can see the bins they've left behind as they're going. Those bins will be picked up and taken and loaded on a truck and taken over to our Prune Dehydrator to be dried. We have our prunes that have been harvested and shook out of the tree into the box, ready to head over to the Prune Dehydrator. So this box weighs about 1,200 pounds. There's about 1,200 pounds of prunes in here. And when they are in the box, I can only leave them in here for about 24 hours before they start to go bad, and juice will start coming out of the box and the fruit will rot. So I need to get them out at the dryer in less than 24 hours and get them dried so that they're preserved, and then they'll be good for a long time after that. So what we're looking for in our prunes is for them to be soft, and we're looking for the sugar to be real high in them. The sugar gets up over 25%. They get very sweet, and what that does is that's our preservative that allows us to dry the prune. If we put a regular plum into the Prune Dehydrator, like a Santa Rosa plum, it would shrivel up to nothing because it doesn't have as much sugar as our French prunes do. So that's the reason that we're able to dry them. All prunes are plums, but not all plums are prunes. What makes it a prune is the high sugar content that allows us to dry them and preserve them. It's important that we take good care of our trees, irrigate them and fertilize them and prune them well, keep them free of bugs, and they give us a long life that way. Welcome to Millrace Dryer. This is our Prune Dehydrator. So we bring our prunes from our ranch in here to our facility and we dry them. Currently we have about 2 truckloads sitting in here ready to run through the machine. And once they're dried, the prunes are actually good for almost 2 whole years. So they're preserved. Prunes came to California during the gold rush back in 1849, and the reason they came here was because we didn't have refrigerators back then, and the gold miners and all the people out in the field needed something to eat. Dried fruit was a great way for them to get fruit in their diet. So that's how prunes came to California. and they're still eaten all over the world today. So we've been running our dryer here about 16 years, and it's a lot of work. It's very fast. It only lasts here about 2 weeks, and then we're done drying for the year. So once that's done, then our prunes are sent off to Vacaville, and from there, down there, Mariani Packing puts them in the bags that you see in the grocery store. Right now, we have our scale behind me over here, and the trucks will come in there. They get weighed, and from there, they are staged over here where you see behind me, and then from there, they're fed into the machine with the forklifts. We can take in here at the dryer about 20 truckloads a day, so it can be pretty busy. They're rinsed with water, and they're spread out really evenly on these wooden trays you're going to see in a minute. And from there, they go into our dryer tunnels at 185 degrees, and they run in there for about 18 hours. So it's quite a long process. And every 2 hours, one car goes in and one goes out, and there's 9 cars inside those tunnels. So it takes a lot of people to do all this work. So after they're done out of the tunnels drying, they're run back into the machine, and they're offloaded into the boxes. So here we are in the back of the plant. You guys saw the machine running there, spreading the washing the prunes and then spreading them out on these trays to dry. So from here they're going to get loaded into the tunnels, and they're going to run for 18 hours at 185 degrees in order to dry them. So the key to good prune drying is to have these prunes nice and evenly spread on the tray. So you notice the machine with that arm going back and forth was spreading the prunes really evenly for us. That way they're able to dry evenly in the tunnels. They're not all clumped up together. So we want the air to move through them really nice. So these trays all are made of wood, and they take a lot of work to maintain. They break every year, so I have people almost all winter long fixing them and getting them back in shape. We have to go through every one of them in order to make the plant work properly. All right, right here are our fresh prunes that come into the plant. I just took off our trays here that are getting ready to go into the tunnels to dry for 18 hours at 185 degrees. And after that 18 hours, this is what you get, these dried prunes on the tray right here. And they're preserved. So from here, you saw the transfer car, we call it, running the prunes in and loading them into each one of my tunnels that go along. I have 30 tunnels here in this back bank, and that allows us to dry about 300 tons of fruit in 24 hours. It's a lot of prunes. So here the cars are taken out, and after they've been in there for 2 hours, and they're spun just like you see right here. You can see the prunes have had a little color on them. They've been cooked a little bit, but only 2 hours out of the 18. They're pushed back in, and now a new car will be put in front of them. So we have a total of 9 inside the tunnel that are going at all times. So these are the prunes that have just been pulled out of the tunnels, and they are about 170 degrees on this cooler side right now. They are warm, nice and shriveled up. They're still hot and squishy though. All preserved and ready to go to the packer. to get put into bags for the supermarket. These are our bins of dry fruit, and they store about 2,300 pounds of dried fruit in each one of these bins. So you'll notice there's air holes on the side so that they breathe, because there's still a little bit of moisture in these dried prunes, so they have to breathe, otherwise they'll get moldy. And we have about 1,500 of these bins by the end of the season stacked in this warehouse, and it takes up a lot of room, and it takes a lot of time to ship it out. But the thing is, if those 1,500 bins were not dried, it would be a heck of a lot more. So it saves space and everything like that is a nice thing. So these are a nice stable product. They're ready to go down to our packer, and from there they're gonna get put into bags and pitted, of course, and they look just like you see in the grocery store. So a nice, good, clean, stable product of dried prunes here.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you learned a lot about the prunes and the process of getting them from the farm to your table. We hope to see you soon on our next Ag Venture.